Welcome to the Wake Up Podcast. I am so excited that you're here. Listen, these podcasts are best listened to in the morning because we are waking up not only our bodies from sleeping, but we're waking up our minds, we're waking up our focus, we're waking up our calling, and we are following the breadcrumbs that God has left for us throughout the day over our life to tell us exactly what to do next. So stop saying that you don't know what to do. Stop feeling overwhelmed. Stop living in the valley and start walking into your calling. So I'm so excited you're here. Welcome to the show.
I just really wanted to share with you guys. Like so many incredible things are happening. So I am, if you know anything about me, a huge advocate about just like praying and like letting God like totally lead us. But sometimes it's hard to know. Like I've wanted to, do big things in network marketing. I've wanted to do big things with my business and like kind of be a little bit independent and really I feel like my biggest pull has been on social media is like teaching other people how to like grow their social media for whatever their needs are for their business. Just because I like to just be to the point and like I like to be ahead of the trends and stuff. And I just feel like I've found a knack in that. So with all of that being said, I've really needed to have a stable income and insurance and stuff, the things that I've missed from the corporate world. So I have prayed about it and I was like, okay, well, I should just be like open to the opportunity and see what's out there. When I started all of this, my goal was to make 6 figures a year and work from home. I never said doing that in network marketing. I never said that through social media. The only thing I prayed for was I felt like my biggest goal was to be a 6-figure earner. I felt like that would give me my family what we needed and to be at home. Like I didn't even care about I don't care about working. Like that's not it. Like I just want to work from home. So I have found so many incredible opportunities just by being open to it. As of the first of the year, I mean, positions that I have done prior and like now I'm coming across a position that is double what I was making doing the same thing like in a previous job, and things that are so easy and come so natural to me that I could do that and still do my social media business on the and still give it the same amount of effort. And
Yeah.
it's just crazy that we sometimes I definitely think I needed to focus on social media and learn what I learned, but it's always so incredible to look in like retrospect and like look at like it never makes sense when you're going through it. And it's like, why is this difficult? Like why can't it just be there? But it's like every single thing is part of the plan, part of the steps you need to take to get there. I am 100% confident if I was a 6-figure earner in Q with that big of a team, with the experience I had, I would have quit and like wasted all of that. So, and really that's not even like my underlying dream, So it's funny,
Yeah,
like what we
it's like
want.
you just think that you think you know what you want. And we don't really know what we want because we can look back at tons of situations like that where you're like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't marry that guy. Oh, I'm so glad I never got pregnant at that time. Oh, I'm so glad that we never bought that house. Oh, I'm so glad we didn't
You're
go on that trip.
so sure.
Like,
At that time, you're
yeah,
so sure that that's
you're
what you
like,
want.
this is
You're
what
like
I want.
praying.
Like, this is what I need. Literally like crying and throwing a fit. Like, I just need this. I need this place. I need this thing. And God is like, okay, first of all, you have no idea what the future holds. Second of all, you've proven to steer us in the wrong direction almost every single time. And you're impatient and emotional and all over and you let the devil and you let other people just whisper one thing to you and you're like, oh yeah, okay, I guess I can't do it. Like, but we're like, please, we know we want this. Like, we don't, we have no idea. And then when you can just like sit back like that and be like, okay, what, like, why are we, it's so great when you can do that, but why do we feel like it's so risky to like let God, like follow God's plan? Like, all right, God, all right, I'm gonna do this. I guess I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn to surrender. Like why are we so scared to give up that control? We should be like so excited, like, oh my God, here, take it. Like, take my stress, take my fear, take my scarcity. Like, you promise to take care of me. You promise that you have not only to like take care of me, because there's a scripture out there that talks about God provides for the birds. The birds aren't flying around in anxiety, freaking out how they're going to get their next meal. They know that their meal is coming. They know they will be provided for. And he says, if I won't take care of the birds, you think I'm not going to take care of you? I care about you way more than I care about a little bird. You're my daughter. I adopted you. I went out and found you. I made you for a reason. Like, like let go of that control. Like, why not? We just want to be in control because for whatever reason, if we know the plan, it's less scary. But it's way easier to do it the other way too, of just like, don't care, surrender.
You know what's so fun too? Like, it's not fun in the time, but what's so fun is to not have any idea how it's going to work out. Like Alicia wanting a Tesla, like she wants it, she manifests it, it comes true. Or like me wanting like a 6-figure job. Like, what am I going to do to get that? Like, I'm just believing it's going to happen and just like leaving it in the hands of God is like the funnest thing, but like not in the time. Cause you're like, oh my gosh, you're panicking. But then after you're like, oh my gosh, like look how he made all of that work out and it worked out in favor. And I am a person that lays in bed at night and prays and literally puts my hands up. And like, to me, that is just like my way of like, when I'm feeling stressed, I just like literally just like give it to him, like physically, emotionally, all the ways. I just raise my hands and I'm like, please take this burden from me. And as I have grown in my faith and like in doing that, like I feel like I have like emotionally, but like I don't really know how to explain it. But the other night I was doing this and I just like had an overwhelming sensation of, and like a visualization of just like a huge angel. And like, like you picture like an angel and like these gigantic wings that are just like so beautiful. And like, I just like envisioned these wings just being wrapped around me. Like, it was like so incredibly comforting.
Picture.
Oh my gosh, it was so comforting. And it was like, because I've been so stressed about like, do I go back to work? Do I work from home? Do I keep going with network marketing, social media? Like, so many options. And it was like, I gave my arms up and I was like, please just take this. And, I was like wrapped in comfort. And, if you ask for the comfort, you're going to get it. And if you ask for direction, you're going to get it. Like, he just wants us to go to him, like, and do what he wants. And I am fully committed to that. Like, I know what I want, but if I have to not make 6 figures, then I have to like be poor to like be humbled for a while more. Okay.
Yeah, he's preparing us for what we, not only providing for us, like that scripture, taking care of the birds. Like, he's not just going to make sure you don't, like become homeless and you die of starvation. Like, he's not just going to like, okay, I'll cover your like bare minimum needs. He has huge things for us. He says, like, I have plans for your life, plans to prosper, plans that are far more beyond what you even can realize. Like, you're not just going to get the Tesla, but you're going to get it in a way better way than you thought that you were even going to get it. And you're going to learn something on the way that you needed to learn to do something else great. And it's all connected, every single thing that we do. And
I think
go ahead.
Sorry. No. I just have one more thing to say and then I'll just listen because I got to go into the store anyway. But I was just going to say, I think a big thing for me and probably for a lot of people is to know where the line of the manpower and like the effort that we have to put in is between that and like what God is going to do. Like, you can't just lay in bed and just like pray for things to happen to you. Like, you still have to have like that forward momentum, like you still have to like not saying that he can't just like drop a lottery ticket on your bed and then you're instantly rich. Yeah, of course, like he can do anything, but oh my God, there's a fire truck.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, and I'm assuming a lot of people, it's like, where is the line? You know, like I want social media stuff to happen, so I'm gonna have to put myself out. Yes, Aaron, exactly. Meet him halfway. Like I want stuff to happen on social media and grow my business on social media. Like I have to post on there, show up. Like I was deathly afraid of going live. Guess what? I had to go live. Like he's not going to turn my phone on for me and like make me have a huge following on
Go
social
live for
media.
you.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
think a lot of it
exactly.
has to do with your mindset too. Like you had to get your mind right. Like you had to
Yeah,
put yourself in that place where you're like, okay, look, I'm going to be open to
right.
this. And it's kind of like everything that we learned about in that Babe manifesting book, where it was like, you can't receive the things if you do not open yourself to them. I mean, I'm prime example. Like literally everything that you're saying right now is what I did in October. It was like I had such a closed mind, and I even spoke it to so many people on so many different levels of how, like, I cannot quit my job because I am an equity owner and I have equity in this company and I have to stay because, like,
Like
I
your
literally,
the reasoning mind tries to like, well, that's not gonna work. We can't do
yeah,
this. We can't.
yeah,
And so you have the part of you that's like, yeah, we can. Come on, come on. And then the reasoning mind that's like, I don't know. Let me
oh no,
write this down. This doesn't make sense.
yeah. And I mean, literally, like everything that April's saying right now is exactly what happened to me in October. It was like one one fleeting thought where I changed my mindset and I said, and I opened myself up to it. It like literally came flooding in, literally. Like, and I've had a few people approaching me recently about, some other network marketing companies, and I've listened to, some conversations and been in conversations about it. But I literally the other day, I told two people, I was like, I'm stepping back from network marketing right now. Like, I'm not saying that I'm stepping away from it forever, but I've made a decision that I am stepping back from network marketing. I don't want to join another company. That's just not where I want to put my focus right now. Like, I don't feel it inside me that it's something that I
But your
want to do.
intuition is
And
telling you, no,
I
this
just
isn't the
don't
plan right
like feel like I want to do it. Like there's no drive for it. There's no excitement for it. There's nothing that's in me that's saying, go do this.
now. Yeah.
And there's tons of other things that I want to be doing, like a ton of other things that I want to be doing. Like what we did on Monday, was it Monday? And we wrote down all of the things that, I'm like, nowhere on that list was network marketing,
Yeah.
like
Right.
nowhere,
Right.
and not even close to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just this week, I told two people no, like people that I've been talking to. I'm like, you know what? I thank you for your time, but I have
And
made a decision.
so like I used to think that when you committed to following God's plan was kind of like the end. Like, okay, you like finally get to a point where you're like, okay, God, I surrender. And then that's kind of like how you live until you die. And I realized over the last year and a half is that you need to then start walking in it, and you need to start reading and studying. If you believe in God, then you need to be reading and studying what he says, what he promises, what he has already defeated. Because if you don't, you spend your whole life worrying and stressing about all these things because you just don't know. You have no idea. You don't know that God says, don't worry about anything. Today has enough worries. Do not worry about tomorrow. So when I start to worry about tomorrow, I'm like, oh, nope, not worrying about tomorrow. What's the point of worrying? God's got this. And then I'm like, nope, change it, leave it out of my mind. I'm not worrying about tomorrow. Or don't be anxious for anything. So if I'm feeling anxious, I'm like, go to Google scripture. I'll type in like scripture about anxiety, and stuff pops up, and I'll just like start looking at it. I created I always picture a comfort fall back into him. Oh, that's so true. Yeah, like they're standing on the stage and all like the angels and God and Jesus, like everyone's like standing there, they're like, do it. Look, we got you. You're like, okay, like fall back. And it's always like, he always does. So when I had this realization of like, wait, you have to now walk in it. Like he is going to meet us halfway. From my experience, I feel like it's 50-50. Now, is that like biblical truth? I have no idea what the Bible says about that. But from my experience is when I take a step, I receive something. I take another step, I receive another thing. I take another step. If I feel like I'm stuck, it's because I haven't been taking the steps of what he told me to do. So like the exercise we did on Monday, like what is God telling you need to start doing? What do you need to do? What is the next thing? If you're trying to, you might be all the way at step one of like, okay, I'm still trying to figure out like what I've been meant to do. Like, what was I created for? Like you recognize that you were created to do something, you have a mission, but you have no idea what it is. So you might be starting on level 1 and God might be telling you, he does tell us to spend time with him, because when we spend time reading the Bible, we will read the words. They're not just, my chiropractor said this perfectly yesterday. He said, the Bible isn't just words on a piece of paper that you're just reading the words. It really has nothing to do with the words on the paper. It has to do with when you read them, how your mind interprets them and what it applies it to in your life. So if you hear a story in the Bible and you're like, oh my gosh, that's like me. That's like what I need to do. You can apply that to what you're doing, or a scripture. You're like, oh, that's like when I say this. Yes, that's what that totally means. So if your spirit doesn't read it and feel that and like decipher what it is, then it doesn't matter what you're reading. You have to like want it. You have to believe it. And there is scripture that even says that for people that they're not open to believing this and they're not ready to receive it, they will not understand what the Bible says. They will not, they'll read it and be like, what in the heck is this? This doesn't even make any sense. Like literally won't. So it's really like a superpower applying it to your business or your mission. I guess I should say mission, because if you're at level 1 of what is my mission? What is my assignment? I need to get up and do this. Or maybe you're already figured out like, okay, I want to start this brand. I want to start this business. I want to write this book. I want to start showing up at a church. Like if you're not participating in a physical church right now, I cannot stress to you how important it is. Like I just fully committed to being in my church, and it changed so much in me when I did that, because now I'm able to like serve and give these gifts in real life. And that's doing what God wanted me to, like wants us to do, is to be in community. You have so much that you can give. And when you go out and connect with like my favorite thing to do, like when I was doing this, was church hopping. And you just like hop to a new church every Sunday and just check them out. Go with a good friend, or go with your spouse, or go by yourself, and go find a church that you really are like, I feel good here. Like I feel good. And then pray about, is this where I'm supposed to be? And you don't have to go every Sunday. It's not that you have to go to church. Nobody has to go to church. But you want to go to church because it fills you up. Being there with all those people, it's COVID right now. So we're not really like getting out and doing a whole lot in general and connecting with a lot of people. You have forgotten how great you are with people. You have forgotten how further ahead you are than the majority of the people in the world. You forgot how healed you are compared to how broken the world still is. And I learned that when I started doing discovery calls and just opened up my calendar for anyone who wanted to talk to me. Book on my calendar, 30-minute call, completely free. I'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. I talked to 42 people in 2 months and took notes on almost everyone. And everyone had the same things in common. Every single person felt like they didn't know what they were created to do. Every single person felt like they didn't know how to do it. Every single person felt like they weren't enough. They weren't good enough. They didn't know enough. They weren't equipped enough. They're not pretty enough. They're not smart enough. They don't have enough education. Every single one of them had imposter syndrome of, who am I to do this? Like people are actually going to like pay me to do this. every single one of them was second guessing what they wanted to do in their life. And every single one of them heard God tell them to do something. So I knew by that data of talking to 42 people in 2 months, that is what gave me the courage to be like, oh, I am totally equipped to help people, because I'm comparing myself to the people that I want to become. I'm comparing myself to Tony Robbins. I'm comparing myself to Catherine Zenkina. I'm comparing myself to Oprah. I'm comparing, like, I want to be on this level. I want to be up there. So I'm like, oh, their stuff is way better than mine. Oh, their ads are way better. Oh, that video is so good. Oh my gosh, their team. Oh, I love their branding colors. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how creative this was. I want to do that. And so I'm just like longing. I'm like, God, why can't I be there? I want to, like, I'm praying for all these things and inside feeling like, why isn't it happening? But it's only not happening because I didn't do the things on the list. That when I prayed and said, okay, God, what is it you want me to do next? And he gave me these ideas. He said, write your book, write your book, write your book, write your book. It is like the only thing that I could think of to write down on that list. And it's the only thing I've been thinking of for months, because God's like, you're not just going to wake up and be Tony. Tony's not going to call you and say, hey, Taryn, I saw you on your YouTube channel that has 700 subscribers, and I want you to come and speak on stage with me and Oprah. Like, could that happen? Yes. Am I open to it? Yes. So if you have a connection with Tony or Oprah, tell them about me. I would do it. But is that probably going to happen? Probably not. And so, like, I need to do these things, but I can't sit here and complain like, oh, the money's not coming in, or it's not working, or I'm not growing fast enough, because you can't be mad at the work you didn't do. It's not that you suck. It's that you're just not doing it. You just have to go out and do it. Do you know that the majority of people that will see you won't like you? Like, that will physically see you and not talk to you. When you walk in, the majority of people will judge you and not like you. And if you have like something fancy, or you're like super pretty, or you have like a bunch of cute kids, or a cute puppy, or you have something, people will not like you even more, because then they're jealous of you. And whether they'll admit that or not, but it's true. And it's because you don't talk to them. They don't like you because it's not that they don't like you because they don't like you. They don't like you because they don't know you. And the only reason why they don't know you, and the only reason why more people don't know you, is because you're letting your fear and insecurity and imposter syndrome, and you're letting all of that thinking really hold you back from doing those things. Because we think like, oh, well, what are they going to think about us? Or, oh, I have to go out and do that. Or I'm going to join this church, and like, I don't know anybody. I'm just going to walk into this church. Like we have all this fear and anxiety. Like, that's what keeps us in chains. But when you go out and you put yourself in an environment, you will start to feel equipped. When I'm feeling that imposter syndrome, I'm like, okay, I need to go spend some time in the real world. I need to go hang out with my best friends from high school and hear about their problems.
You know, I listened to not a podcast, a YouTube video the other day of Mel Robbins she did a podcast or interview with Boss Babes. And after I listened to the interview, I literally went and bought her new book. She just put it out this last year. It's called The High Five Habits. And it's literally like, you give yourself a high five in the mirror every day for like 5 days straight. And like, there's science behind like what that does to your brain, and like the message behind a high five, like what you attribute that to. Like when you think of a high five, like what do you know, what does it mean to you? And like everything about it is always positive, right? It was like never like she said it's like physically impossible to give yourself a high five and like say something negative to yourself. Like it's not possible. Like
it
literally
makes
not
you
possible.
laugh instantly thinking about it.
Yeah, no, seriously, I did it yesterday and I like smiled. Like, and I feel like crap, right? And I look like crap, like I'm in the mirror and I'm like got out of the shower and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like shit. And like gave myself a high five and literally smiled. And so it's like, it's true, like it's impossible. But part of the reason why I brought this up is because what she talked about in this interview was how she had like, literally she had major like imposter syndrome herself. Even up until recently, even up until like this last year.
Mel Robbins.
Mel Robbins, who is like one
crazy?
of the most inspirational speakers on the earth, one of the most high-paid inspirational speakers, had no faith in herself. And so like everything that you were saying about like all these people that you're talking to, they all have the same thing in common. It's not just like 42 random people who don't know their direction. It is literally like everybody out there, like everybody has it. It's, you know, from people like Mel Robbins, who that is their job, is to motivate and inspire people. Don't do it for themselves. And that's why she created this whole high five habit book and movement. It's like a whole movement now.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I instantly was like, oh, I should see what I thought of social media, like doing reels, recording a video every day of you walking up and high-fiving yourself and then like saying this. And
it's
then
like a movement.
I'm like, there's probably a hashtag that people are doing this.
Oh yeah, there's like, that's what happened is she, before she even wrote the book, when she was like down, just, you know, like at her lowest, she took a picture of herself. She said she didn't put a hashtag on it. She didn't write a caption, a description, anything. She literally just took a picture of herself, like no filter, in like her morning, you know, wake up, hair all tossed, and giving herself a high five. And then, like she said, it just started flooding in after that. And people were just like,
we should take a picture like that and we should post it, and we should all post it. We should make it in like, and all just post it on the same day.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. And to start,
it's pretty awesome. We can start our own hashtag.
I know. We should do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good idea. And
I did start reading the book too, because I was just like, I listened to that. Because remember the other, I don't know when it was, but whenever, I'm in like a time warp right now.
I was gonna say with like COVID, like, right? It's like,
yeah, I'm like, what? All day on Wednesday, I thought it was Tuesday. All day. Oh. It wasn't until like 5 o'clock at night that I realized that it was not Tuesday, that it was Wednesday. Like I missed a whole day. And yeah, I'm like in a time warp. I have no idea what day it is. But whatever day that was, that I was talking about, wait, what was I going to say? Gosh, now I can't remember. What did you say right before that?
Come on, I'm the worst at this. I hate when people ask me that. I'm like, I'm the one that's supposed to say I forgot. I was live yesterday for like almost an hour on Instagram, and like 3 times I was like, wait, what was I saying? I was like, where's the people that always remind me? April knows.
You guys were talking about creating our own hashtag, right?
Well, and she said something about she started reading the book yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Yeah, you said, so you started reading the book, the high fives. You're like, yes, I actually started reading already.
Yes. Okay, now I remember.
Thanks, guys.
The other day, yes, thank you.
High five.
The other day, when I was telling you guys about that podcast that I had listened to, where he was saying that he leaves like YouTube on in like whatever room of the house that he's in. And so I did that. And that is how I came across that interview.
And my favorite thing ever to do, April, is to follow the breadcrumbs. And so I've been praying about, because I want to create a journal. I know that people need help journaling, and because I know that because I needed help journaling, and then I kind of figured it out. And so I'm like, gosh, I want to like create a journal and sell it. And I've been having this like creativity block for it, because I just can't like figure out what I want it to be yet. And I'm realizing that I want it to be like a breadcrumb journal, and where you're journaling down the breadcrumbs, the next piece that you know God's giving you, or you can see that he gave you in the date of it. And like the thought that you had, because
that's good.
How it all strung together. And you can see that like you were like, and usually like when you turn on something on YouTube or Audible, or you read your Bible, what you're doing is you're slowing down, because the world says, I'm too busy to do that. I can't do that. I have too much going on. So when God is trying to call you and you don't hear him because you're so busy, you just stay on like the spiral, the hamster wheel of just like freaking out. But if you lower your distractions and you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down and read this book, you're going to get this like, oh my gosh, yes. Like this message is going to stand out to you, or this voice, or exactly what happened to you. So you could journal and say, I heard this guy in this podcast, like, where did you find, like things, you don't have to know everything, but it's cool to be like, then on YouTube, I listened to Mel and I bought her book and now I'm learning this. And now you just told us. And so this could be how God has used you to impact someone else's life. And then now I'm like, oh, I'm looking for breadcrumbs. So I'm like, oh, Mel Robbins has a new book. Oh, I love her, Mel Robbins. I'm like, I love her book. I'm already planning on buying it. I was thinking like, I'm going to buy this book and now I'm going to listen to it. And you can see how God uses all of his people that he brings together. So if on top of all of this, you're praying for, you're waking up and spending time with God, like meditating, journaling, praying, listening to something while you're like taking a shower, while you're doing your makeup, have YouTube on in the background. Like you can still multitask this if you need to, but if you wake up and immediately focus on like, okay, this is my focus today. My focus is looking for breadcrumbs. And my focus is being a vessel and doing whatever God needs me to do, and connect me to, I just say, use me today, however you can use me, however I can serve you, whoever needs me, who needs you, any way that I can help, put me in their path. And then I'm super hyper aware all day of who God's connecting me to. Because I used to, at the top of a piece of paper every single morning, my goal was to impact one person. And I wrote daily impact. My sheet was literally called a daily impact sheet. And I would want one person's name on the top that I know I truly impacted that day, like poured into them, helped them. And then that came super easy. And so then I switched it to 3. So then I started writing 3 down. And then the other morning I was thinking, I was like, I want to impact like 10 people a day. And then I was like, oh wait, I am, because I do a call in the morning that there's like 4 to 6 of us on. And then there's like anywhere from 60 to 100 people who listen to the podcast right now. There's like 20 people who listen on YouTube. And then every time I post, there's hundreds of likes there. I'm like, okay, hold on. I'm like impacting a lot of people. I want to impact 1,000 people a day. And so I'm looking like, how can I make these impacts? And so you can journal along the way. But if you don't wake up and actually wake up to your calling and wake up to your opportunity and wake up to this path that God has given you, he's in front of you and he's laying breadcrumbs. If you start to get so distracted of, I just don't have time, I have so many things, and you're stressing and your mind is just like racing and worrying about everything. That was me. I used to say it was like, I have journal entries talking about how loud it was. I'm like, it's just so loud. It's so loud all the time. It's just so loud and it won't stop. It's like white noise just blaring on the TV and everyone is screaming. But physically, I'm sitting in my office and it's quiet in my house. And I'm panicking and I can't breathe. And I'm like literally like falling to my knees, like, God, help me. I can't do this. And it was the only thing that dropped me to my knees. Like, I can't handle it. I can't do it. And that's why God makes us go down into the valley, because that's where he is. And if you realize that you're supposed to be on a mission, you have to keep following it. And I want to just shout both of you guys out so much for sharing your story, but also for like celebrating what you guys have done. Like, you're doing it, you're following, you got on mission. You're like, this is it. You're not doing it perfectly, and neither am I, and nobody else is. But look at how you don't have to be perfect and it still work. Like, you still can screw up. You still can be so inconsistent. Like, I'm like, wow, I only journaled like maybe like 70 times last year. I wanted to journal every day. I only journaled like 70 times. And I'm like, look at how much I remember just from journaling 70 times. Like, that's awesome. But I beat myself up all year, every day that I didn't journal. Like, God still uses your inconsistency. He knows that you're not going to show up all the time. He knows who you are. You don't have to be perfect in order for it to work. You just have to keep listening for the next piece. And then if God says, write your book, make your course, post that video, like, he knows social media. he knows it. He's not out of date. Like, oh, he's gonna, tell me to go walk to so-and-so. Like, he's hip with technology. He will be like, start a brand that's this. Like, create this, have a graphic that says this. Maybe you're not the actual one that can design it and do it, but God didn't call us to do anything by ourselves. Jesus was never by himself, ever. And he always sent, unless he was praying in the morning, he also sent out disciples in 2 by 2s. He sent them out in pairs, and Jesus died on the cross with 2 other people. Like, he didn't ever be alone and didn't call us to ever be alone. We need to be in community, but we need to be careful of who we're choosing. And that's the whole reason why we have these calls, is because I could never, ever, ever, and I say it all the time, I could never do what I was doing if I didn't have you guys. I just couldn't do it. I wouldn't believe in myself. I would be in such a different place if I didn't have you. And I thank God every single day that you guys are here and you show up to the Zoom. And do you know that there's never been a day ever that I showed up to the Zoom and nobody got on? Ever. And I've been doing these for like 2-something years. And we've changed the topics along the months, and we changed what we were talking, like just the whole general idea of the Zooms. But these Zooms are here for people. You can get on live with us by clicking the link in my Instagram. And it just says, like, under freebies, I think, and it says join our wake up call. You type in your info, you'll get an email with the information on it. We also have a group chat where we share resources, and I'll share good videos or messages I have on my heart. These groups are for people that need strength. They need security when trying to build out there. We're fighting darkness. We're fighting evil. We're fighting against the mission of the world. And it's going to be hard, but when we have a bunch of people, we can do it. And when we have questions, there's people here to answer them. And when it's like, hey, what do you think about this? Should I do this? Yes, do that. Or God's been telling me to do this, or my favorite reason why, well, not my favorite, but one of my favorites with you guys is that we can say, like, who knows how to do this? Oh, I do. Like, I'm like, how many times should I post a day? And April's like, oh, you should post this many times a day. Or this is about the TikTok Creators Fund, or like all of this stuff where I'm like, oh, like she told me, she was like, and April, you're so good at hearing technology things from God, where your intuition just like knows like what you need to do. Like, before I only did a reel because April was pushing me to do reels. If without you, April, I don't know if I ever would have done a reel, because my reels didn't start until you started pushing me to do them. And then I started doing reels, and now I do them all the time. But you were like, I just feel like reels is where it's at. And it was before there was 30-day reels challenges. People weren't doing that yet. You were like, I just really think that it's this reel thing. And I'm like, what is a reel again? Like, we literally had no idea. And you felt that.
Speaking of which, I am on this kick, and it started like a couple weeks ago. I would even say, like, I mentioned it probably like a month ago, about how going live is so important. And like, it doesn't even seem like it right now, but this is like a huge thing that's going to happen, because like, look how video blew up. And then now it's people want that interaction more than ever right now. So going live is going to be huge too. I was on Instagram when I was working out, and the creators posted a thing that said about badges. So I'm interested to see when I go live today, because I put in my bio that I'm going live Wednesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And so guess what? I'm showing up every Wednesday and Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, it's not always comfortable. And it's not perfect. But the good thing is, when you're starting, not a lot of people get on. So it's okay to mess up. And the other thing is it's relatable. So that's what I keep telling myself, is it's relatable if I mess up. And really, like, what is, like, how can you mess it up? Like, you really can't. But my point is that it's very important to start getting comfortable with going live, because that's something that your audience is going to want, you know?
And
So-
the style of going live now is so different. That's what I was gonna say when I was just talking. Like, and I forgot.
Sorry.
No, I forgot. I'm glad you said, like, that was the whole reason why I brought up the real thing, is because then you just started talking about going live, and she said it like over and over. And then I got on her live and kind of watched how it happened, and I'm listening, and I really feel like God is telling me, like, I put April in your path for a reason. Like, listen to her, do what she's saying, and it's going to work. And so the style of going live has also changed, because I used to go live a lot of times as a network marketer to like show a product, or was like sitting there and talking like a training live almost, which, yeah, those are still like big things that people need, but nobody really wants to watch that live. They like, in order to watch that live, it's more like their brain needs to be on. They want to be like if I did a live, if I wanted to do a video training on imposter syndrome, I would have more people watching it if I uploaded it as a video and said, this is a training series, versus being live. Because when you're live now, like April said, if people want to do it for entertainment, they want to be talking to you. They want to be like eating their cereal and like watching you. Like, it's
Interactive.
Yeah, it's like what they're watching, like a vlog, but for like real people. Like, what are they doing? What are they talking about? And it's just a different vibe, I'm realizing, than like a training going live and having something like that.
Well, the people
don't-
that on TikTok that go live all the time, like, I get stuck watching people literally package stuff up to ship, or they're like making something and they're just taught. And the ones that I actually like get sucked into are the ones that interact, like that are interacting with the people who are watching them. So, you know, answering questions or talking about their lives, like not talking about their business. I mean, obviously answering the questions when people ask them about their business, but like talking about just anything, you know.
Yeah. So
about
Like a
their life.
friend. Like,
Yeah.
you're FaceTiming your friend,
Mhm.
not that you're doing a QVC infomercial.
Right.
yeah. And so we figured out that you need to be talking about something, and you need to be doing something, and you need to be talking about whatever is in your bio. So don't be talking about something that's not in your bio. And it doesn't have to be like, you can pick a bunch of different stuff. Like, as long as yours, Alicia, is talking about something to do with fitness and wellness, like, then that's fine. It could be funny stuff. It can be, I mean, you can like, the categories are endless, but it just has to be about that. And then what you're doing has to be something about what that is too. Like, you're making a meal, you're in your gym, you're stretching, you're like, maybe you go live every single time that you stretch, and you like tell people about like mistakes or like asking people how their day was. Like, how'd you do? Like, who ate breakfast today? And like, here's my like tips on a healthy day. And you're just like stretching, getting ready to work out. And you're like, okay, let me tell you what I did today and like what I sucked at today. And like, this
Meal
is accountability. Like, yeah, like there's just so many things that people can be doing live. So the point is so April told me to do this. I've been doing it now. I did it twice. I didn't like it either time, but I did it. And the second time I did it yesterday with Skylar while we were eating pizza. And that was really stressful for me, because I was just like thinking about people judging Skylar the whole time. So I would like get in like train of thought talking, and then I would like see her and she's like chewing her pizza. I'm like, Skylar, stop chewing like that. Like, that's just good. Like, people aren't gonna. That I was like, well, maybe people will watch it because she's chewing with her mouth open.
And you have to let her be authentically her.
Yeah.
Just like we all need to be authentically us. Like, those people are going to that are attracted to kids like her will love it. And then there's also going to be the haters. Like,
totally.
You just have to like know that going into it. But
that's coming.
Like the video that you posted of her talking about her goals, like that was so cute. And like the end of it where she was just like, and she reminded me of one of your sons. Like, I don't know which one, but I don't know, like at the end when the way that she was talking, because I just remember seeing a video of one of your sons, and like it just reminded me of like one of your boys. And I was just like, you could tell she's the youngest child.
Yeah.
It's so like her attitude, you can totally tell that she's the youngest in the family. Like
Yeah.
the spunk. And see, I think you have to, like, if you're gonna make her like a star in in your stuff, just let her be like
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
It's relatable
It is.
too.
And
Like,
that's why I started using her and stuff, because people will literally like stop me at church or stop me at Meyer and be like, oh, I like your daughter, and like talk about Skylar. Like everywhere I go with her, people stop. They're like, she's hilarious. Oh my gosh, she's so funny. You should put her in acting. You should put her in modeling. You should put her in like all these things, because she's just so unique and so her. But I'm like, I need to start like showcasing that and like try to mix it in with my brand too, so that I could. And I had like a huge jump in views on the reel that I did with her. And so I'm like, okay, and it's reaching a whole new group of hashtags, like funny kids and like stuff like that. But my live, when I looked at my insights after doing the live 2 times, all my insights are in the green by so many. My accounts engaged was up by 100%. I had 100% more, like just from, I swear it was from going live, because I haven't really changed anything else. And now that I've been consistently talking this message, I started talking this message like right before the new year of like God and have the best year ever. And I started doing that. So it's only been like 2 weeks that I've been doing this. And my account grows. I probably get like 100 followers. I probably get like 50 followers a day right now. And that's a ton of followers. Like that's only 2 weeks of being super consistent and on mission of what I was supposed to be talking about and doing, and then showing up consistently. And now it's all in the green. And so take emotions out of things too. Stop thinking about like, how do I feel like my business is going? Instead of feeling how something's going, why don't you know how it's going? And look at your insights and keep looking at your insights. I just like to look at 7 days at a time. And I always check my insights. And as long as you're in the green, you're good. You're growing. You're growing. Like, stop being so impatient. As long as you're in the green, you're growing and you're good in what you're doing. And then you can tweak it to grow faster, but also realize that sometimes when like I made a shift. I was talking to network marketers about branding, and I shifted the boat and I started talking about God and spirituality. And so for about a week and a half there, all my insights were down. But I knew it because I was pivoting, and the algorithm was like, wait a second, what is she doing? And people that were seeing my stuff weren't normally liking it. And so everything just kind of shifted, but new people started seeing it. And so I shifted. I knew it was going to be down, and then it went back up to green. I would say if you have a plan, if you're like, this is my mission, this is what I'm going to do. My branding course is still, I don't know, I'm just keeping it up, I guess, it's $222 now. I'm releasing a new course in February, but I think I'm just going to leave this one up discounted until then, or whenever God tells me to take it down. But the course tells you how to get started and how to like what to do on Instagram. Like what do you write in your bio? What kind of picture do you use? What are your highlights? Like to get it so that people are like, oh, I know this person, follow, and they can be direct enough. But after you're like, okay, I'm doing this, then I would say wait like a month. Wait a month. And as you don't like things, like as you're doing them and you don't like them anymore, like maybe you're like, I'm going to go live and I'm going to start meal prepping and talking about my day. And then maybe you're like, oh, I don't like that. Like, I don't like how it feels. I don't like doing it like that. There's a difference between like being hesitant because you're scared to do it because it's uncomfortable versus like, that doesn't sit right with me. And so maybe you're like, I don't want to do that anymore. Or maybe you put it up, I'm going to go live Mondays and Wednesdays or Wednesdays and Fridays. And then you're like, you do it for 2 weeks. And then you're like, I don't like having to do that. Or I want to change it to 3 days or 1 day. Like you're allowed to change as you go. Like that's the whole process. You're trying to refine it. And like, so don't feel like, oh, here we go, changing again, Miss Inconsistent, like only did it for 2 weeks and pivoted. Like you're supposed to like refine it and like, okay, what feels good? How do we do this? Like following God. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. And so
I like struggle with that so much. Like because I feel like I'm constantly like, my brain is like, squirrel, oh, let's do this, and I struggle with it so much, but it's not your gut. It really is. And one of the things that I semi like touched on and learned about there's like this thing called like human design, and like how we're made and it's like based on like astrology and like when we were born, and just like our own like unique like footprint or fingerprint on in how we are. And part of it is, for me, because I'm something called a manifesting generator.
I like how you put it in quotes.
Yeah, I am a manifesting generator. Well, yeah, I am. But for me, like manifesting generators do that a lot, where they're just like, the purpose is to get the ideas. Like, it's not always to finish it. And so I constantly feel like, and there's a lot of other manifesting generators out there that are like that, where they just like, it's that like unfulfilled feeling of like never coming to the end. Kind of like in that book, what was that book that we were reading? Driven. Yeah. It kind of like in that same aspect where it's just like, you don't ever like, you get all these ideas and then you go after it, but you don't necessarily finish them, and before you're like jumping to the next thing. And there's like a huge amount of like guilt and shame around that, because you feel like a failure, you feel like you can't complete anything, you feel like like you just hop from one thing to another, but it's actually part of like your design. And so like owning that and knowing that makes it actually allows you to like dive into what feels good to you and what your actual like creative juices are, and like lets you flow through life in that way where you don't feel like that shame. But I like struggle with it all the like so much.
Two things. One, can you put information in our chat on Telegram about how to figure out what you are?
The human design?
Yeah. Will you just put some?
Yeah, I'll have to go back and find, like I did, there's like a quiz that you take and it's a pretty like long quiz. I'll have to go back and like find one, but
I would love to have that in there. And two, I'm so grateful for your vulnerability and opening up and sharing that, because it is what a lot of us that are like that think. And I just think of how sad that God created you to be like that, because he set you out on a mission to do something bigger than big. Like, he's like, okay, I have all these like little assignments. Like, okay, I need all these people. And like, oh, I have this one. Who can I pick? Alicia. I'm going to make her, oh, she's going to be so good at this. So good. And then he's like, I'm going to need to make her different, because you're doing a different job. So he makes you different. And then you're out there like crying, complaining. It's like the eagle that's raised with the chickens, and the eagle is looking up at the sky at the other eagles and thinking, wish I could fly. I wish I was an eagle, but I'm just a chicken. Because you're like with the chickens. Like, you're not a chicken, you're an eagle. Like, stop thinking that stop shaming yourself, and like give yourself grace. Like, we hate on ourselves all day, every day. We're not enough. We're procrastinators. We're inconsistent. Why do we say that? Why do we do that? Why do we laugh like that? Why are we in this mood? Why is this our emotional state? Why are we lacking in, like, we're constantly just not enough for ourselves. Like, you go to like April, you've gone to the gym so much and you're doing so great, but I bet you still beat yourself up about not doing more or doing it better or doing it longer or going more often. It's like, it's never enough for us. We're impossible to please.
And it's not even us too, though. It's like this outside world also adding to it. So not only are you your worst critic, but then you have other people. All my life, like unknowingly, I've been told, like, can't you just be happy? Why do you always want more? Like, what? I would never say that to my kids in a million years. Like, I want you to do more, be more. I want you to be the best that you can be. I was told I have like destination addiction. Like, I can't be happy. And I just get like so fired up about that, because reading that book, Driven, changed my life, because I, like you said, Taryn, was created for more. I was created to do these big things. And the fact that like people like us are put in a box is ridiculous. And it makes me so like worked up and sad to know that somebody else is being told that they like something's wrong with them because they want more. And in learning all of this, like it's been eye-opening for job looking too, because I realize I am a person that needs a goal to work towards to get to the next step, to work towards the next goal, to get to the next step. Like I need to always be in forward momentum. I can't just like, I can do a job every single day, but I need to be like, okay, I've learned that, need to move on to the next. Like I want to like learn it and move on.
Yep. Yep. And we're not being put in a box. We're walking into the box and then we're closing it and acting like we're trapped.
Yeah.
And
And
nobody
letting
is
people
We're like
tell us
holding the
that.
door ourselves,
Yeah.
like, let me out. Somebody let me out.
It is totally, that's what, like, that
Yeah.
is literally what we're doing. We're standing in our own way. We're the only problem in our life right now. It's it. And when you realize that, when you're like, okay, I'm gonna just believe in myself for like 2 seconds and I'm gonna do this. Like, I love the quote that says you believed in Santa for 12 years of your life. Can you believe in yourself for like 2 seconds, 2 minutes? Like, please just believe in what God has called you to do. And if you don't, go to my Instagram and there's a highlight called identity, and start going through that and reading that and listening to the things that are in there, because it will over time show you what your identity is. And if you don't know what your next breadcrumb is, then slow down today, pray, and listen to what like whatever you feel led to listen to, like Mel Robbins thing, or you know, whatever you're listening, like listen to something. Stop thinking and trying to come up with it on your own strength. Instead, let God give you the idea. Hear it from him. So, okay, I love you guys so much. And I'm glad we're on here. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I uploaded I changed my like intro and exit of my podcast, my last one that I just posted, episode 29. And so I also put it on YouTube, but I started putting our faces back on here. So you guys are like, oh, thanks. I just did because people were asking me, they're like, I wish that I could see and like be in the group. And I think that if people could start to see us, more people will get on, because they're
Wait,
like,
on YouTube you're doing that?
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
April turns off her camera.
It's okay. You guys were
bye-bye.
we were on there forever. Okay. The whole point of us
I know.
uploading
I
this
don't
is
even
for
care.
people like, right, we want people on here. Like,
Dude.
us.
Okay. I look awful like 99% of the time on here. So
I
like
don't even
talking
look
about
awful
being
then. I don't think either
authentic.
of you. I don't think anybody looks awful at all. I think you guys look beautiful. So start seeing yourself through the eyes of the creator instead of the eyes of the world. Stop being shallow. You're so pretty, April. Look at your eyes match your sweatshirt.
I know.
And your
You
lighting.
need to do that TikTok with that blue-eyed TikTok.
Oh, you
Your
should.
eyes would
like
be like, you should.
Right now, because the sun
Like
and your
right
eye
now.
color.
Like, go do it right now.
I always think like have you ever been somewhere and you're like, oh my God, and you like leave and you have like the anxiety of it? Now that's how like I'm feeling. Just because I like something I said earlier is like, oh,
You're gonna rub
like,
your
'cause
lashes off. What are you doing?
I know they need to be filled in so bad. They're like, they need to be filled so bad, but they're like all like crooked. But and then my contact is all messed up. But I said earlier, I go, fine, I'll just be poor for a little bit longer. I just want to clarify that's not what I meant. Like I'm not poor. I'm very cared for by God, but that's not what I meant. I like, it's bothering me that I said that.
You didn't say that though. That's not what you said. You said,
I did.
if I have to,
actually say those words.
You said, if I have to humble myself and
be poor a little longer. I definitely did. And I try very hard, especially with money, to choose my words wisely. And even more than my words, my thoughts. I always try to like recorrect my thinking, because I'm not poor. I'm very blessed. And so I just needed to correct that on the side note there.
Yeah.
But now I'm like always thinking like, I don't know. Just never mind. I'm just going to go about my life. Like, these aren't posted on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the point. We're authentic. We want people to come to our group because we're authentic and real. Okay. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Have a good weekend. Thank you for listening and spending your morning with me. I pray that God blesses your day and that He helps you to see the calling that is on your life. Lord, help us to be obedient to what you've called us to do. Help us to walk in our day side by side with you and link with your power instead of trying to do it on our own. We know we cannot do this on our own, although we try. Please continue to help us and continue to lead us and guide us. We love you so much. In Jesus' holy name, amen. Have a blessed day. Thanks for being here. Oh, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Taryn Sarconi so that you can grow with me and you can learn how to get out of the valley, how to stay out of the valley, and exactly what to do to have the best life ever in 2022.